good evening, good afternoon, and welcome to Architects of Lore. One and only weekly podcast where two drifting cousins sit around and discuss the age-old art of storytelling. And at the end, we're going to come up with a brand new original movie of our own. But I'm your host, aka Z-Town TV. That's my co-host / co-cousin, Devo City, aka just Devin. Devin, how you doing tonight?
Oh, I'm doing great. I'm doing fantastic. I played some good golf. But you are right, because we are drifting because someone doesn't watch the show. And that someone is you.
I did watch the show.
You didn't watch the show. When did you start
watched it yesterday.
When did you start it?
I watched the whole thing yesterday.
Oh, yeah? Then why are you making TikToks that don't have the annotations that the show has? Making it seem like I fell asleep in Dune when I fell asleep first time I watched Dune, and then I had to rewatch it, so I stayed up the whole second time. You would have known that if you watched the show and read the annotations.
You understand that you're the one that put the annotation in there. That's your video source, which I don't have access to unless you re-upload it.
I'm just saying, though.
I only have access to the raw video feeds.
You saw that and then made a video that was blasphemous like you did.
But my video's funnier because you did, objectively, fall asleep during Dune.
The first time I watched it, but you make it seem like I never finished it at all. And I
asked you on air during the show, so you never finished it?
You were confusing me. You were asking me too many questions in a row. You know you're confusing me. I fixed it on the hard edit with the annotations.
Devin's seen 70% of Dune, people. That's it.
I've seen the whole
middle
thing.
30% he's never seen.
I saw the whole thing.
He zoned out on TikTok during the same thing.
No, I didn't. No, I didn't. This guy's a liar.
Put that in the annotations.
For Han and justice for me watching Dune, because I did watch Dune.
Hashtag justice for Han. I am upset at you.
Yeah? Why?
Why would you get me to love this character, Han, just to watch him be brutally murdered? Why would you do that?
You know,
why?
Honestly, before we even get into it, you kind of have to. This all comes back to Marvel, because this casting director for the MCU was the casting director on Tokyo Drift, so she brought us Han.
Okay, but I don't think Han. Is Han in a Marvel movie that I'm unaware of?
No, but she then did the casting for all of the Marvel movies, but she did the casting for this first. So, just ties it into the Marvel universe, technically.
I'm just saying, this is one of the only death scenes where you actually see the person in the precarious situation. Now, do they show you immolating Han's body? They do not. Could that have been a product? I was about to say, could that have been a product of the PG-13 rating? Most likely. But they show him in there right before it happens, and he's bleeding. He's upside down. He's not getting out. Han's dead, people. He's never coming back. And it's Devin's fault. It's Devin's fault for getting me into Han. Han and Roman, two best characters of Fast and Furious. Vin Diesel wants to come on this podcast and argue with me about that. I'll argue with him all day. It's Han and Roman.
All right, before we get into it, how has your week been?
Fine. It's been fine.
I went golfing today, and I beat Scott by 8
I don't care. I'm still upset about Han.
I got a +6 on a executive.
He's just
going
to blow by my depression, people. He's just going to blow right by it.
We're not to the movies, though. I'm trying to maintain the integrity of the show. Maybe if
you're the one who said justice for Han.
Maybe if you watch the show, you would know the order we go in, you know? Oh, got him.
Got him. All right, let's get into golf talk with Architects of Lore. Did Devin watch my TikTok where I had an amazing annotation of golf talk with Architects of Lore? He didn't even notice it, people. He didn't notice it.
Yeah, I did.
Didn't notice it at all.
But listen. This
guy doesn't watch the talks.
Yes, I do. Par 30. I commented on that last one. A par 30. I got a 36. I only double bogeyed one hole, and it literally spun around the entire cup. It was just, it was tragic. This comes down to the green keeping, I think. But
of course, that's not your fault.
No. I didn't put too much on it. But I had a beautiful 0 putt. Let's call it a Texas wedge from
Texas
the fringe for a birdie on a par 4. No one saw it except me. But they saw the ball in the bottom of the cup.
That's all that matters.
Yeah.
So hold on. The last time you played this course, didn't you shoot like a +8. 52 or something on a par 30? It was in the 50s.
No, because I played the 18 hole. This is the executive.
Okay.
I did bad on the 18 par 3. This is the executive. Last time I got I think, an 8 over. And this time I got 6 over.
Okay. All right. So clearly it's the par 5s that are killing you?
I told you I was struggling with my long irons. Yeah.
Right,
Today, me and my 3-iron.
Well, we got to know what to work on, is what I'm saying.
Well, I messed up my drive, one of my drives, and I took my 3-iron out of my bag, and I said, listen, we got to have a little conversation. Just treat me well. You're only getting one swing today. Make it a good one, you know?
Yeah.
Make it a good one.
Make it a good one.
Boy, it had the distance. It was just about a foot off the edge of the green. It was pretty nice.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
Pretty nice.
I'm thinking that you're going to snap at least one club at the Pompeii member guest.
One of yours.
No.
Should I bring a snapping club? Like, go to Goodwill, get a cheap club.
If you know that you're going to get upset, I think you need to bring a frustration club. So that'd also be, honestly, really hilarious to intimidate our opponents if you just fucking snap a club in front of them.
I have like 10 clubs in my bag by the end of it.
That's all right. Well, that's good. Since the last time we talked, just played League. Nothing crazy. We already talked about my golf fitting. So yeah, there it is. Didn't really do too much. Visit some friends. Fine. I mean, we got kind of beat. I think 6-3. So it's all right. It's okay. We got League tomorrow. Another chance to rally. We're actually like probably top 10 still in overall points.
You're gonna have to turn it around. Have you not been
watching
I do. The Titleist videos?
I actually
been sending.
Hey, little bit behind the scenes here. Devin missed call time again, and so I had some time.
No, you said call time was gonna be 8:30.
No, I didn't.
Yes, you did. You're like, oh, Michael.
I said we might be a little late.
We
might be a little late.
So I planned my day around this, and then he calls me on my way home from golfing.
I didn't call you. You called me. But
okay, well, good thing I did. I did, because I still had to eat. I had to make this sweet Justice for Han shirt. I had to take a shower. I smelled like sunscreen and victory. So, like, I needed some time.
Okay, so Devin missed call time again. So I had some time to kill. So I actually went into the email of Architects Lore for once, and I did watch the last Titleist commercial that Nate made or sent. More to prove. I'm telling you, man, if you actually watch those things, they get you jacked up. All right. So I was like, I just come back from the range. I was like, I need to go back to the range and get more to prove, Devin. I was hitting it pretty well today. We'll see if that translates till tomorrow. Working on some things. I think a lot of what my problem is, and I know everybody really cares about this, is my balancing. I got to work on balance. I got to stay on
Scotty
balance.
Scheffler doesn't stay balanced, and he hits the ball.
Scotty Scheffler is the number one player in the world. He can do whatever the fuck he wants. I need to stay on balance.
Just saying.
All right, well, that was golf talk with Architects of the Lore, everybody. Devin, did you see any new movies lately?
Yeah, I did. What did I watch?
You watched Dune all the way through, finally.
Yeah, I did watch Dune. I watched that last week. Jeez Louise. Started watching Bad Batch again, and then I realized that someone must have been watching Bad Batch on my Disney Plus.
That was me.
Don't know who that could have been.
I have my own profile on your Disney Plus.
I don't know.
It on there
because it said continue watching, and it was in season 2, and then I was like, I've already seen all of these episodes. I finished season 2.
Maybe it was Lulu.
So I watched like 3 episodes that I've already seen, and then started watching the new season. But it's all right. I watched Solo for Star Wars Day, and I went to a Star Wars bar on May the 4th. It was like the cantina. There's a lot of people dressed up. I heard they were open. Okay, we don't. No, we not messing with the mouse. We don't mess with the mouse. You know that.
You were talking over it. That's fine.
Okay, if I wasn't, I'm gonna have to cut that. I'm gonna. Jeez, this guy got millions of dollars for that song. Come on now.
Maybe
people were dressed up. I guess they're open at 6 a.m. all the way to like 2 a.m. And then when I got there, it was mostly just bar. But earlier in the day, I guess they were doing trivia and playing clips and having a whole celebration. But there's a lot of people dressed up. A lot of people with lightsabers. A couple people with droids.
Did you dress up?
No, I wore all green. So I was like, oh, I'm kind of like a forest rebel, you know?
All right. Okay. Put a little effort into it.
A little effort. I tried.
A little bit, yeah.
But it was kind of, Star Wars-y, so I felt like I had to watch Solo just because I wanted to see Lando. But that movie is so dark. Like, the cinematographer is like...
Oh, Solo. I was like, Lando.
He wanted to use natural lighting. So everything is just in shadows, which is very frustrating, I think. Let me see the screen. But
I thought you were talking about my screen for a second.
No.
I'm not watching
the screen of the movie.
Gotcha. So I didn't watch any new movies. I did watch some old movies because I wanted to visit some friends this weekend. And I told them about the podcast. And so I ended up watching The Fast and the Furious and Too Fast, Too Furious again.
You're a
dynamite movies. They hold up. All right, they hold up, people. Got a new listener into it. Amanda, if you're watching, we're on Tokyo Drift. So you better have watched it for this one. I did also watch the Knicks win. What's up? Game 1, 1-0. Eastern Conference semifinals against the Indiana Pacers. Let's go Knicks. We are a Knicks podcast here. So if anybody listening here is not a fan of the Knicks, get out. Get out. All right? We could be exclusive, Devin. Okay?
I saw the end of the game. I watched the end of the game. We're Knicks fans.
Did you?
Yeah, I was at a bar that I was at. It happened to be on. So
why were you at a bar yesterday?
That's where I got dinner.
All right.
Okay. It's like a tavern. I don't know.
Did you have a good dinner?
Yeah, I had a Chipotle chicken panini with potato chips, and then they had some little trivia going on. So,
did you win?
Nah.
All right, well, let's cut this part out. Let's move on to everybody's second favorite part of the show, and that's the
movie game.
Audience, last week's movie game question was: Tom Hanks and his weird hair return to track the Illuminati and their monstrous underground energy scheme that harvests the terrified screams of our youth. Devin, that answer, of course, was
Angels and Monsters, Inc.
That is correct.
That from Angels and Demons and Monsters, Inc. First part of the clue is for Angels and Demons. Second part is for Monsters, Inc. Throw them together. That's how the movie game works.
Mash them up. That's how the movie game works. But we always have to prove, because if we don't get these right, you should tune out. Okay? So, because we know movies.
Positive energy. Here's your question, Zach. A young Japanese girl is sold to a house where she is trained in the art of song, dance, and conversation, and saying a mystical word that you magically transform the chosen one into a yoked superhero.
Okay, the second one's Shazam.
Okay.
With Zachary Levi. A young Japanese girl is taken from her home and taken to some place.
Sold to a house where she is trained the art of song, dance, conversation.
Oh, okay. I remember this movie. I never saw it, but I remember seeing like trailers and the name. It's like Memoirs from...
No.
of. Okay, memoirs of geisha.
Memoirs of a geisha.
Memoirs of
Shazam.
a geisha Zam.
Yeah. That's Memoirs
Yeah,
of a
that counts.
Geisha and Shazam.
That counts.
Kind of.
No, it doesn't kind of count. I got all the words except
Exactly.
All right, well, let's see if you get this one. God damn, this is a good clue. You better get this one. When he's not busy doinking Roller Girl, Dirk Diggler jousts with William Thatcher, a skilled peasant boy gaining fame and notoriety in medieval competitions.
Is it A Knight's Tale for the second one?
Yeah, great movie.
Okay.
If you guys haven't seen it, we will review it at some point.
Black Knight's Tale?
No.
Martin Lawrence?
No. I know it's not that one.
Read it again.
When he's not busy doinking Roller Girl, Dirk Diggler jousts with William Thatcher.
Yeah.
Blah, blah, blah.
Roller Girl.
Dirk Diggler. Oh, he's drawing a blank here, people. Let's see. What can I say that won't give it away, but at least give you a hint? I think the 70s.
Okay.
I think
I wasn't alive.
Mark Wahlberg. The movie's not in the 70s, but it's about the 70s, starring Mark Wahlberg. Heather Graham is Roller Girl.
Okay. Boogie Knight's Tale.
There you go.
But it's A Knight's Tale. Come on.
Boogie Knight's Tale. That's what it was.
Boogie Nights and A Knight's Tale.
Then why don't you explain to the audience how the game works before you read the question?
The movie game, you get a clue for one movie, a clue for the second movie, and then the answer is the movie titles mashed together. A white man cruises over to Japan to modernize their noble warriors by teaching them how to club the crap out of an Olympic figure skater's knees. A white man cruises over to Japan to modernize their noble warriors by teaching them how to club the crap out of an Olympic figure skater's knees.
If you know the answer to that question, please leave it in the comments below. Now it's time to get into it, people, because justice for Han. One of the greatest cinema characters that was ever created. Devin, if you don't go fucking wild for this intro...
You know what? Why don't you do it? Go ahead.
No.
Go ahead.
People expect
no.
No.
There's a lot of Devin, you do this. Devin, if you don't do this. Why don't you go ahead and get us into this next segment in a crazy, wild way, Zach?
Okay. Here we go.
Throw down the gauntlet, people.
This week, people, we will celebrate the life and story of Han Solo, I think his name is. Devin told me at one point. In Studying the Blueprints.
Fast and Furious Tokyo Drift. The gist of this story is basically Han is in Tokyo and he is using high schoolers to defraud the Yakuza.
Yeah, when you put it like that, it doesn't seem great, but I mean, but it's Han.
That's the movie. There's this guy named Sean. He is in trouble in America. He gets sent over to go live with his dad in Japan. He meets a bunch of people at a school for, I think, foreign students and other rich students. I don't know. It's a nice school. He's told not to get into the racing scene, so he gets into the racing scene because of Bow Wow.
Immediately.
And then there's this guy DK, aka Drift King, whose uncle is in the Yakuza, and he's just not a fan of Sean. And they race. Sean breaks Han's car and now is indebted to him and becomes a runner for Han. And Han is, in fact, ripping off the Yakuza. He gets in some trouble. He ends up dying. Sean, to make things right, goes to the Yakuza boss and said, me versus DK, one race. He ends up using his dad's old car
American
that they
Muscle.
fix up. American Muscle. He beats DK in the race. And at the end, we see a little somebody called Vin Diesel. He's there to race and probably investigate the death of Han. I don't know. But there it is.
We'll find out. We'll find out in Furious 7.
Fast and the Furious Tokyo Drift.
Okay. I think we got to say one thing right off the top, and then we can get into this movie.
2014 looks a lot like 2003.
It does. But also, I am pretty glad that we're past the trope of older men preying on high school women. Because this movie does have that.
I'm assuming that DK is like a year out of high school.
It was never established how old he was, but it was established that his girlfriend was in high school.
True.
Now, these actors are in their 20s. Did the main character, Sean, look like he was 36 playing a 16-year-old? Yes, he did. So, there is that.
Canonically in his 30s right now? Yes.
Probably, yes. And Han, to Han's credit, in the beginning of the movie, it says, dude, what are you still messing with high school girls for?
You're moving up in the world.
Han was against it. Also uses the high schoolers to his advantage as well. So
I think he wanted to get, he's like, you know what? If these people get caught, it's a little slap on the wrist. Han, you got to realize, and this is completely
he's building a family there. He's got his bunks.
Hold on.
All right.
He's just seen Giselle die. He is in a tragic state. He is completely out of control right now. He's ripping off the Yakuza. He's getting high schoolers to work for him. If you're going to go with the retcon canonical timeline, you got to understand Han's not in a good place right now.
No, he isn't. Okay. All right. That's fair. I thought you were about to say something bad about Han. Now I was going to reach through this fucking screen and rip.
No, I'm just saying he's
all right.
Going through it.
He's going through it. And he's trying to build family like Dom built family. He's got some bunks there for any kids who are runaways. You know, they're part of the crew. They're part of the family. And he says it in the car. He's like, you remember that scene, all the Wild West, where they're running for the border? This is my Mexico. He knows that he's already passed his prime.
He's like, I got money. I don't need money.
I don't got money. I don't have money, personally. I would like
I know, but Han says he has money.
But Han does. But I don't.
Yeah, and his shop is in a very central location in the central of Tokyo. So,
were there some cool things? Did this make me want to visit Tokyo? A little bit. They have a cool car elevator garage. That was pretty cool.
I remember loving that as a kid. Because you got to remember, this was 2003. I was 13. This was so freaking cool. I've never seen drifting like this. I saw Tokyo, which is like so much more westernized, but also futuristic than I imagine. I'm like they're playing soccer on a rooftop. That's pretty freaking dope.
It is. It's cool.
Listen. I mean, obviously, this movie takes place in 2014, but it was filmed in 2003. Mm-hmm. So,
yeah. So just imagine all those flip phones that you see being used. Those are iPhones. Okay. Or vintage. Samsung. Yeah. The kids were into vintage stuff. But the Hawk thing
makes more
totally
sense
slaps.
That they were able to live stream the whole thing if it was 2014.
Yeah, that was probably like Twitch.tv.
I was like, they're live streaming this entire thing on like a server, and someone's there switching the, what feeds.
Exactly. Yeah, this is Twitch.tv on their phones. Let's just put this also out there. I don't think that American boy going into a Yakuza is still getting out alive. But again, we got to take some creative liberties with this.
Did you see that the guy had his fingers cut when they were doing the final race? Like, as he was a Yakuza who was cut off his fingers as forgiveness?
I did not.
Come on, you gotta see the nuances in these films.
This is the first time I've seen this movie. You've seen this movie 36 times, okay?
Well, how many cameos did you see? Did you see the girl from 22 Jump Street, who's the cheerleader in the first race in the movie? She's the one who takes off her bra and counts down.
Oh, yeah. Wasn't she from Glee?
I don't know, but she's also was from like the Gerard Carmichael show.
Yeah, I
And
remember
Chrissy
her.
Teigen claims that at the end of this movie, her boobs are in it, but not her face. So
cool. All right.
and there's some cameos of some stars.
I did see a cameo of Vin Diesel right at the end of the movie. Why is Vin there?
He's investigating the death of Han.
Do we know that?
I don't know, but
because from my perspective, Han gets killed. Somebody who we still don't know yet calls Dominic Toretto as he just murdered Han and said, Dominic Toretto, you don't know me, you're about to. And Vin Diesel's just going through Asia racing people.
Yeah, that makes sense. That seems to track.
Yeah, no, you're right. That makes total sense.
That tracks with me.
Here's the thing. If they make this kid the new Brian, I'm going to be upset. There's nothing against Sean. He's fine. I felt like they tried to make him more an amalgamation of Brian and Dom, and I don't think either worked. Like, Sean's just got to be himself. So, I'm not putting it out there. He's probably going to be in another movie at some point. But I just hope he doesn't become like a main staple. You know what I mean?
Well, this was the return of Dom Toretto because you had Fast and Furious, or Too Fast and the Furious, Too Fast, Too Furious, and then Fast and Furious Tokyo Drift. So everyone's like, dang, where's Dom? And then Dom comes back in the end, and you're like, okay, all right. So then they made 4, and they brought Han into 4. And we're like, okay, Tokyo Drift hasn't happened yet.
Not yet. So, it was supposed to happen right after 4. And then they were like, no, people are still saying this stupid hashtag justice for Han. Let's put him in 5. Oh, well, this is a great character. We need to have him in 6, too. And then we're like, oh, well, his girlfriend's going to be Wonder Woman, so she's going to die. So I guess let's kill him now. That's really what happened. Gal Gadot is the reason that Han died. Han could have been in all the way through 12, and then Tokyo Drift could have happened in 2030. All right? We don't know that. We don't know the plans.
I mean, we'll just see what happens on this roller coaster that is the Fast and Furious franchise.
If Gal Gadot comes back and Han, and she sees that Han isn't there, and she realizes that it's her fault, that'll be a pretty powerful scene. Pretty powerful scene. I don't know.
Making predictions.
Folks, remember, I understand that some of you are listening or watching this and are like, why doesn't he just look up the Fast and the Furious and see what happens?
Why would you ruin
I don't want to be
yourself?
spoiled. I don't want to be spoiled. I don't know what happened. I've already told you the little pieces that I know, and it's just most of that I know that there's actors in there, like Helen Mirren, Jason Statham. Finally, we saw that. I know that he's in there. Jason Momoa, and I'm pretty sure John Cena's in one of these. I don't know who they are, and I'm not going to spoil it.
And after this next one, you haven't seen 8, 9, or 10, correct?
No, and I don't even think I've seen 7. I just remember seeing the scene of Brian and Dom parting from 7.
Yeah.
So we'll see. I literally don't know what the next movie is about. I assume it's the crew versus whoever Jason Statham's character is. That would make sense. But I don't know. We'll see. Whatever. That's not the point. The point is Tokyo Drift, fine movie. Really elevated because I already knew and loved Han. But without that elevation,
cool
it's a fine movie. It's a
good. Some of the cooler driving in, because they were like, "Fuck a story. Story really doesn't matter." But let's show you some.
There's no story
drifting.
At one point, the son, again, 16 years old, probably, maybe
17.
Let's say 17. Goes to his dad, a Navy person, Lieutenant. An active duty Navy person. Stationed in Japan.
You can see it on his badge.
Yeah. Goes to his dad and says, Dad, I fucked up, but I got to stay. You know what I mean? Sometimes you got to clean up your own messes. And the dad's like, at least you're not following my mistakes. Your son is going against the mob, like a Yakuza. Get him out of there.
But finally, he's taking responsibility, and he's not just being a kid. He's being a real man. His dad understood what he had.
Dad's understood him. Dad understood.
You know, Japan is a country about honor.
Mm-hmm.
You have to do the honorable thing. It could be incredibly dangerous, but he had to he had to fix his mess.
Yeah, to save his girlfriend Neela.
They're just friends.
They're not just
There's
friends.
No kissing in this
not
movie.
Just friends.
There wasn't a single kiss in this movie except for background actors.
Is Neela going to be in the new movie?
And then Han gets a little action. But again, Han is probably in a bad place right now.
He's jumping from woman to woman to woman.
He's got all these kids working for him. I don't know what's
giving money off the top on the Yakuza.
You know, Bow Wow or Twinkie or whatever his name is has been working for him for years. Just selling stuff to kids.
Part of me thinks that this was just Han's way of dying. He's like, I'm just gonna go full bore. I'm gonna live my life a quarter mile at a time, and I don't care if at the end of that quarter mile there's a brick wall and I run into it.
He is acting pretty recklessly. He lets a stranger who just talked shit to DK take his car. This is the Mona Lisa.
Yeah, but that scene was cool.
And also, I think he did.
He's just like, take mine, throws his keys. Sean doesn't even look and just catches them. That was a cool scene.
I think he did it on purpose too, to have him indebted, because he's got to get these kids somehow.
He's got money. One car to find out what the measure of a man. I'll take that price all day.
He's like the Dom Toretto of these movies, Han. He's not even the main character, and we're just focused on Han.
But I mean, come on.
He's a better character than Sean. Sean's just like, I don't even know why Sean ran away, and like he didn't even have a falling out with his dad. He seemed like he was obeying his dad. Yeah, he was lying to him, but he's like, "Oh, I'm after school, sir." And then next thing you know, he just doesn't come home one night, and he's like,
"Oh, he's not full in."
He's full into the drifting. Yeah.
We're obviously going to talk about Han. Han's already been in these movies. We know Han. We love Han. He's a great character. I would put a large sum of money down that we see Han somehow, in some way, in the future movies before any of these other characters. Okay? Because this movie came out, and there wasn't a hashtag justice for Sean. It was a hashtag justice for Han.
Sean didn't die.
Justice for Twinkie, or whatever his name was.
I mean, you're going to see him in 7. Whoa.
Who?
My bad.
If you just ruin that. If Han is in 7 and
alive... No, Sean and Twinkie.
How? Oh, because we see the end of the race or something like that?
Nah, they're just part of the crew now.
They better fucking not be. All right, but that's it. Where does it fall, Devin? We gotta now. That's the real question. I gotta put my love for Han aside, and we gotta objectively measure this movie. So where does it fall, Devin? On the lore list. All right, Devin. I think we can both agree. This isn't the best Fast and Furious movie.
It is a cult favorite, but
as a movie...
No, what?
In just the Fast series, I think Fast 5 is still top. Would you agree with me in that assumption?
Yeah, I'm just saying a lot of people like this movie. You can't just say people don't like this movie.
I never said people don't like it.
Objectively good movie, not as good as the ones we've already seen.
So then we got to move down. The Fast and Furious series.
At the top of our Furious list, we have Fast 5.
Which is at number 12 on the lore list.
Then the original, The Fast and Furious at 19.
Yeah.
And then we have The Fast and Furious 6 at 26. Too Fast, Too Furious at 36. Fast and Furious at 49.
That's an accurate ranking.
Do you think... I think this is better than Fast and Furious. Just because I like the drifting better than the tunnels. And if you come down to this is a movie about cars and driving. And what was the cooler driving? The tunnels?
Tokyo Drift.
Tokyo
Drift is better than the fourth movie, Fast and Furious. I agree. The real question is it better than Too Fast, Too Furious? Now, these are two These are two competing love. These are two competing interests of mine, Han and Roman. One has the introduction of Roman. One has the introduction of Han. I think Too Fast, Too Furious has benefited from Brian being there. There is no Brian in Tokyo Drift. Brian elevates
Dom,
the movie.
though.
It does have, but only at the end.
But he's still in it. It is
still in
killer.
It. So it's really who had the better side characters? I mean, we get Ludacris in Too Fast, Too Furious.
You could put it right in the middle of Too Fast and Furious and Fast and Furious.
I think it's above Castaway, right?
I think it's above Adam's Family Values.
And below Psycho?
Yes.
I can live with that ranking.
So there you have it, folks. No, joking. I'm not Zach. All right, so number 42 on the lore list, Fast and Furious Tokyo Drift. People, it's time. Last we saw the crew of Big Blimpin'. They were going to a black planet, and there was an explosion. So what will happen next in the Cosmic Void series? We'll find out in Building the Lore in the Writer's Zoom.
Okay, Ronan and the crew are on a black planet. Mm-hmm. Now, hear me out.
What we should do next is
introduce a whole new group of characters.
Spinoff! That's right.
Well, come on, guys. We watched Tokyo Drift this week. You thought we were going to continue Cosmic Void? Come on.
It's called a cliffhanger, baby. Yeah. You don't know what's happened to the crew of Big Blimpin', and you're not going to find out until next week.
In fairness, we don't know what happened to them either. We'll find out with you.
Cosmic 6 is a spinoff.
Yeah. It's Cosmic 6 Tokyo Drift. Now, okay. I do think we should use this opportunity to build out the universe. We've been very Ronin focused. Got to build out. There's other characters here, people. We introduced a whole new empire. Okay? We had the Kyronian Empire introduced. And they're just big bads, evil doers in the shadows. No, we got to flesh that out. Okay? Or we go the other route. Flesh out Galaxy Co. With the old handler. But I think that's not as interesting.
We're going to the Kyronian Empire.
Okay. So
we want to see all these aliens that you mentioned. Because I thought it was just going to be the human race and the Kyronian people. But you're like, oh no, we got different alien creatures. We got to see them.
Okay.
I'm thinking we got a ship that mirrors Big Blimpin'. And they go on a little adventure, and at the end of the movie, they see Big Blimpin' going down. And that's how we tie it all in.
Okay, so we want a contemporary movie.
Mm-hmm.
Different perspective in the Empire.
So
do we want... So we can either do it from basically the complete opposite side of Ronan and crew. So somebody in the fists, okay? That part that's actively fighting against Galaxy Co. and Ronan, our characters now. Or we can do a different perspective, because it is an empire. They're not a monolith. There's different people, there's different situations. We could do also maybe like more of a outcast rebel crew of this empire.
Hell yes.
Okay.
That's so much more interesting. I mean, we're trying to expand the lore here. You're going to go into the fist. We already went into the fist in 5.
So with it this way,
what the rest of the empire is like, and not the political side, not the fist, not the military. We want to see a rebel crew, I guess, like we said. Yeah.
Okay, got it. Okay, so a group of outcasts in the empire. So thinking about this logically, if they're outcasts in the empire, we have already determined that this empire is based on fighting prowess.
Mm-hmm.
So
it should be
what if we do something basically where like the empire is more like Sparta, where when certain kids reach an age in the empire, they're tested somehow, and maybe these are some of the ones that failed that test. So they weren't going to be fists or fighters, so they're not in that higher caste system. They were relegated to administrative support, whatever other parts of duties of the Empire would need him, but not the fighters. And the fighters are like the premier people. So we have that group that like failed the test basically. Like, and then what's their lives like? How did that influence them to now?
But they're not in the administrative. They're like, they've gone on their own crew.
Yeah, so in my mind, I'm thinking these people failed the test. And it's not common practice, but it definitely happens, is that when that happens, some families will just like basically toss these kids out. Like, you're not worth it to our family anymore. So then there's orphans, street rats. Maybe they grew up in like an orphanage.
Bunch of Aladdins, huh?
Yeah, kind of. Because I mean, that would happen. If you're think about this logically, you're a part of the fist. You just had a kid. The kid failed the test. You're like, this kid brings shame to my house. Get the fuck out. You know what I mean?
Okay. So we got a group of young orphans. I'm assuming they're young.
Well, I mean, like, let's go late teens.
All right. Yeah, let's get them out of high school. We don't want to do Tokyo Drift. Let's get them late teens, early 20s. And if they're
still
orphans,
the younger side, just finding their way in the world.
They have a leader, the owner of the ship. Do they have a Han who is sending them out on these jobs?
Interesting.
Because he could be like this scumbag guy who just picks up, and he's like, what's that lady from Annie, the orphan?
Yeah, I know what you're talking about.
And
the one who's basically a terrible person. So we could do that
on the outside, but then treats these people like dirt.
So that's kind of a trope. We can definitely do that. What if we do like they actually had like a loving orphanage caretaker person? That person gets killed by a government fist official for some reason. They either wanted their house, they wanted something that they had from them, so they witnessed this terrible event. And that could be a few years prior. It doesn't have to be right at the beginning.
Is that a flashback? Yeah, I imagine that should be a flashback, because I don't know.
Because like it's pretty interesting if these kids clearly get kicked out and they're old enough to know that they got kicked out of their family. But then they find a new family. They find this mentor figure who actually cares about them. But then it's double ingrained into them that these people are worthless because this government fist official can basically kill their caretaker and get away with it completely. Because then we can set up more of like a heist revenge type movie. You know what I mean? Against this singular
it seems
person.
like a lot of backstory for a one-off movie. Is what I'm, like, I get what you're saying.
How is that a lot of backstory? How are we going to do this
in 90 minutes is what I'm asking. Because first we have to meet a crew. Then you have to say how they're connected. Then you have to have a flashback to this lady who's been killed. And now they have a revenge. And how many years later is it? What they've been doing during those years? How they get a ship? We could just have a crew.
Well, yeah, we don't have to say everything from it. It could just be like the beginning of the movie is they already have a crew. They already have their ship. And then seeing this person again triggers that. Of like, that's the person who killed whatever, Maria, let's say her name was. What, you know what I mean?
Okay.
And then that sets them off into doing this movie's plot line. Of like, yeah, we survived for years. Why do we care about this? But then they're like, that's the guy who killed our mom. Fuck that. Let's go mess him up.
Okay. So I think I can figure this out. Here we go.
All right.
So they're all kicked out around 10 rotations, however, where our aging thing is, because we're going to have different species, so they might look different, yada, yada, yada. They got this thing. They're on a planet in this empire. When this person, destroyed their orphanage 5 years ago and left, they've been on their own scrounging. Now the person who killed them has been declared like a governor or a Tarkin of this locale, and they see that and they're like, all right, well, we're gonna blow up this guy's ship.
So, yeah, that's not that much backstory.
It's not. It's not.
Yeah. Okay.
All right. So let's fill out our cast here. How many people we thinking? Or creatures? Or I'm thinking one guy who looks like basically an octopus. A lot of tentacles, a lot of blobs and stuff.
Okay, does he have feet and a torso and then just like 3 tentacles instead of arms? Or is it all tentacles and he's somehow amorphously moving throughout land?
Yeah. Yeah.
The second one. Okay.
Yeah, so like crawling with the tentacles.
But he's an octopus type creature, but with full vocal capabilities. Or are we only going mental?
Ooh, he could talk through the mental. That'd be cool.
Maybe he links them up too. Okay, so he's the mentalist. He links them. All right, so we got basically, let's say, he should talk soft humanoid in their octopus. Heads. Yeah, talks in their heads.
Because I don't want it to be like Groot, where he just says, "I am Groot," and he's just basically there to be like a long extension. Like, yeah, he can lift people up with their tentacles, but also he links them all mentally.
And he can walk like a human if he wants to, but it also just like kind of rolls with his tentacles that look like wheels at some point. So he can get pretty fast.
Oh, yeah.
All right, so his name is Octavian.
Okay.
All right. We got to have a strong female leader. I'm thinking she was kind of the oldest out of the crew. She's the one who looks after these people now that mom died. But still doesn't know, like a little lonely sometimes. Can be a bit of a hard ass. But she's really just at their best interest at heart.
So is she the Ronan counterpart?
I would say she's more of the Rory counterpart, but instead of only one
counterpart if it's just a mirror.
That's what a counterpart is, Devin.
I don't know. We're gonna gender swap, But...
Fine. We have a strong male leader.
No,
a little bit older, looking after me.
But why can't she be like the Ronan? I don't get how she's comparable to the Rory.
Because I always viewed Rory as a strong female lead character. She just wasn't the one who beats up people. But
she's not the leader of the group.
Yeah, like Ronan's like the physical battle leader.
But he's still calling the shots of where they were going.
He's calling the shots, but I always viewed Rory as like the heart of the crew. And that's why, things go south in 5 when she's not around. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Or 4. 5 is when they get her back and things start to right themselves. Okay, strong female lead, a little bit more like Ronan. So she has some physical capabilities.
I was gonna say, you can't just do okay, this is Rory and this is Schmory. They're totally different.
First of all, I was gonna call her
Flory.
Sarah. What type of alien is she? Let's start there.
I don't know. I don't imagine what these aliens are. They humanoid and just different colors? Are they like creatures like the Octavian, where he's like an octopus into a creature?
There's definitely Octavian as a creature. I think at least one of them has to be the green, a little bit tentacle on the chin. Our main Kyronian, like Keon and whatnot, just small. Okay, but so that we can see if there's different types.
He should be weak and skinny or something.
Yeah, weak and skinny. More of the tech guy.
But also, that's the reason why they he got whatever 86.
Yeah,
because you could make this like diehard female leader, but she could be really short, and she could be like a shorter alien, kind of like Rocket Raccoon.
It could have been more of a racist thing too with her. Maybe like the Kyronian, his wife was her species. And maybe she's actually physically strong but short, but there's like a racist thing where they don't accept that race into the fists. You know what I mean? That could have been it. So maybe she is pretty strong and a good fighter, but because of that, that's the reason why she got rejected. So we do have to have at least a fighter.
Yeah, but she doesn't need to be like they don't need to be related.
To who?
You just said like the Kyronian's wife.
I'm saying like this is a different scenario. Her parents' set were like a Kyronian and then whatever species she is, and then when they mated,
so are you talking about the Kyronian species or the Kyronian people?
It's two different things.
Species are the green things.
The green ones, yes.
Those are the Kyronian species.
Yeah, the
anyone
Kyronian
who's in the Kyronian Empire is a Kyronian citizen.
Yeah, citizen, but not the species. Just like Romans. Now, there are Romans from Rome, but also Roman Empire can be anybody in the empire. You could have been from Gaul or Illyria or whatever, but you weren't.
So she is like a mix between a Kyronian species and a different alien species. She has the strength, but her stature is very short and small.
Very short.
She's like a dwarf.
Okay.
From Middle Earth.
Got
where
it.
They're strong but small.
Yeah. And then she's also a light green and not a dark green. All Kyronian species are dark green. She's more like a light green.
So she stands out differently.
Yeah. Okay, then we got
we should have the tall, really guy not be Kyronian then, because I don't want everyone to just be either Kyronian or not. Like he should be like orange or blue or something.
Okay,
purple.
Fine. That's fine.
And just have him be tall and lanky, and he's like
tall, lanky, and purple. Great. So we got Octavian. What's the strong female leader character's name?
I'm thinking like Spark or something. Because she's like easily Ember, you know?
Okay. Smolder? No.
That's the Rock's character from Welcome into the Jungle.
She could just be Spark. Spark's fine. Then we got Skinny. Let's call him Ned. His name's Ned. And we gotta have at least one. It could
be like a really long name, and he just,
Yeah, we love our long names, and we just abbreviate to Ned. We gotta have at least one more main, and then maybe a couple peripheries that might die. Red shirts. All right, we gotta round out the crew. We got the mentalist, we got the tech, we got the leader, kind of fighter. So we need a support. We need like a driver or like a medic or something like that.
A driver, and I think it looks like a seahorse. It's like the head of a seahorse with like the humanoid body, but kind of like fishy looking as well. And it looks like a seahorse.
Okay, so wait. So me, but with a seahorse head is what you're saying. Okay.
Yes.
All right. Let's call him Zach.
And like just kidding. And like webbed fingers and stuff.
Yeah. All right. Okay. And so that's like the driver.
Call him Mac.
All right. So we got Mac. And then we got a couple of red shirts. Yeah. We also grew up in the orphanage. More of like periphery. We don't need all their backstory and whatnot. Let's just say that they're two more people. Spider and Wasp.
Give one. Spuds
and Mackenzie. Spuds and Mackenzie.
And they're more like, one's a rock type looking alien, and he sacrifices himself by like closing off a tunnel for their escape.
I like that. And Mackenzie looks more like a flower, with like a wilt, like petals around her. And she's could sacrifice herself somehow. We'll figure it out later. All right, so we got the crew. All right, we got their backstory. They were all kicked out for one reason or another when they failed their test to become fighters. They all lived in this orphanage. They all experienced love again from a mother type figure.
And now they're in this like hangout, which is like an abandoned skyrise or something. And instead of four walls, the side that would be like open window is like open, so it's like
Yeah.
they're raised up, and then you could see like spaceships flying by and stuff.
Yeah. So I think, let's say, I like your governor thing. So let's say that this person has been nominated for governor, because I don't like the whole like, hey, we're just gonna kill this guy plot. But what if there's in order to become governor, there's some sort of ritual or ceremony with something that they're like, hey, if we steal that thing, that this guy can't become governor, basically, and like ruin his
like
life.
a ceremonial where they like do like white smoke compared to black smoke for new popes.
Yeah.
So it's like, like in order to be declared leader of this place, you have to go through the ritual. And then like their plan is to like make the smoke black, so everyone's like, "Whoa, this is a sign."
Yeah, it's a sign, and also if he fails the ritual, it also ruins his reputation, which basically ruins his life.
Yeah.
So like, okay, I like that. Because then it's
and
more
then
like
I think they escape in his ship, kind of like the crew of Big Blimping did.
Yeah.
In Cosmic Void, because they have to see Big Blimping go down at the end of this movie.
Yeah, what I was thinking is that they escape, and then there's people after them, but then the people peel off, and they're like, "What's going on?" And then that's when we see in the distance,
like Fist.
Yeah.
Okay, so you have military Fist chasing them, and then through the thing they peel off.
Yeah, that's what I'm thinking.
So now they have to come up with a plan.
Yeah.
Right.
So this is more like a heist sabotage movie type thing. All right.
We go there. We see them hanging out in their crew. Maybe one brings back some like contraband or something that fell off a ship or whatever. Then they see like a broadcast about this person.
Yeah.
They have a flashback to the orphanage. They have to come up with a plan. They've decided that they're going to sabotage the commencement ceremony.
Yeah.
In order to do that, they have to break in to the military complex or the religious complex or something, because they have to be being chased so that the rock Spuds can sacrifice himself.
Yeah.
And then
I think he sacrifices himself on the way out.
Okay.
Yeah. They also have to confront this guy somehow. So it can't just be like, oh, we got him. It was more like there has to be some sort of fight type sequence where they finally do the task that they're doing while also confronting this guy, and then it's out of this guy's hands because it like sets off or whatever. And then basically completely ruins him. And I want to see this guy burned face, blown back. You know what I mean? Like, he's also physically hurt as well.
Yeah, and then they got to have Spark. She doesn't go along with the plan because she sees him or something and, like, goes off plan to confront him. And that's kind of why Spud had to sacrifice himself.
Yeah, maybe. Because I think also, if Spark's like the hot-headed person, maybe she is like, okay, she's going to go along with this, but she's really like planning on murdering this guy. And maybe this is where Mackenzie or somebody like talks her down, saying like, that's not what Mom would have wanted. Mom always told us that the Empire is supposed to protect people. We're protectors. We're not like them. And so that like that takes the second where she had an opportunity to kill him, doesn't kill him. But then they get chased, and then Spud's got to sacrifice himself because of that, where, if they didn't say anything, she would have just slit that guy's throat and walked out. Nobody would have known. You know what I mean?
And maybe Mackenzie could be a distraction because she's, like, so flowery and whatever. And it's not like...
And maybe Mackenzie doesn't have to die. She doesn't have to die.
Yeah, but she just could get, like,
captured.
Separated.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So then we could also bring her back.
Yeah.
Spuds is definitely dying.
Spuds
We're going to show that on screen, immolating Spuds.
Because he's a rock where you're going to blow him to a million pieces.
Yeah.
And it's not going to be like Groot because you can't, pick up.
Rocks don't grow.
Yeah.
Rocks don't grow. Okay. All right. So we got like the basic genesis of it. So, yeah. All right. We got the backstory.
And then they escape on the ship. This guy's life is ruined. He's physically disabled, or not disabled, but like physically completely hurt. Also, his reputation is ruined. He's not going to be governor anymore. He might be kicked out of the Fist.
They steal a ship, get out of there. They're getting chased by some other fist, like his honor guard or something like that. And as they're getting chased, they're maybe going through some sort of asteroid field. So we could show like some of the flying process, and then maybe like because they also have to pull a move where they like get away kind of to show that they're, it's not a Deus Ex Machina thing. So if they like get away and hide, like these people might be looking for them, and then they see them pull off instead of keep looking.
Okay, so it's like the old hide behind the meteor, like Han Solo type thing.
Because they have to do some active part of getting away, but I do want to see that scene of them.
But I am curious,
pulling away.
What are we seeing in the Empire throughout this series? Because we want the Empire to like. I think we see a lot of greenery. I think we see a lot of like public transit. I think we see healthcare. Like people don't really get sick. I think if they like find their place, they could be happy or whatever. But they were rejected, and they're like reject against their place, because there still has to be like, we're still being like, okay, there's the Fist, who are these military, but like, what are the positives of the Empire is what I'm saying.
So I think the way in my mind that this is coming from, in order to rationalize why as an audience member I would be on these people's side, is that from our perspective, the Empire works and it's great if you are one of the people it's designed to work for. Like the Fists or the higher ranking administrative people.
Okay, but what do we see in the Empire that's working? Like, what are we witnessing? Yeah, because if we just see a corrupt people, that's the same thing we got in Galco. So we got to see like the benefits. Like, do we see beautiful architecture like Asgard or Wakanda? Like,
yeah, we see like beautiful cities, beautiful greenery, like flying cars, everything. It looks like an idyllic paradise until you get down to the fucking streets.
Okay, I get that, but we need to paint a world of what we're seeing here, because eventually, spoiler, the Empire is gonna people are gonna decide if they want to live in the Empire or live in Gallico. So we got to give them something to live for. Because there should be like, there is no hunger, there is no disease,
Yeah, but if you have that, why would there be rebels? Nothing wrong. Why would there be rebels? I'm not saying,
because they weren't rebels. They were street rats who then found an enemy in one particular person, and that's who their enemy is going after. They're not trying to take down the Empire. They're trying to take down this one guy.
So you, in your mind, they'd pull this job and then they go live happily ever after in the Kyronian Empire somewhere?
In their heads, I think that's their plan. Is they're gonna screw up his career, not get caught, no one will ever figure out about it, and they could just move on. I mean,
so then what have they been doing for 5 years? They've been stealing.
That's what I'm asking. I think stealing and scratching and like, they could get their places in the universe of like the Giver or whatever, where everyone has their job, and they just don't want to do that. Oh, number analyst 85298, and you go and you just type in, and they just want to live free, but like they don't really want to contribute to the society type thing. So that's where they're like, the people of the Globical universe are more free, but the people of the Empire have more benefits if they just deal with the Empire. You know what I mean? Like, I'm trying to like put two different positives, so that when
you're trying to do communism versus capitalism.
100%. Yes. Okay. Perfect communism in the Empire. Textbook perfect communism.
All right, let's game this out then. We're going into 7. This group meets up with our group.
Mm-hmm.
Why would they fight against their empire? Or are they now enemies of our group?
I don't know. That's what I'm asking. Because if we keep just saying this a military fist, we're telling the same story over and over again. I think we need to see a glimpse into this empire without having the presence of a huge fist storyline.
Yeah.
That's why it's like one person that they're going after. And this is more of like how to ruin this person's day, kind of a little comedy light. And then they run and it links into our bigger story. But I think this should show the day-to-day life of the Empire and the benefits that they are receiving, because eventually Ronan and the cast of Big Blimpin', if they're alive, or the crew of Big Blimpin', if they
We don't know. They're probably dead.
Are going to want to, split the difference in a way between their world and this world. And create a one world order.
With clones. A lot of clones. All right. I see where you're going with this. Fine. The Kyronian Empire is perfect communism if you submit to everything that they tell you to do, which is
yes,
you do exactly what they tell you to. You are tested, and then you go do that job, and that's it. You have no creativity. There are no individuals.
Exactly.
You do what they tell you to do.
Yes.
Galaxy Co. is the veneer of freedom, really secretly controlled by corporations. Your day-to-day lives. Okay. So our group in the Kyronian Empire want to be individuals.
Free spirits, correct.
Free spirits, as taught by their orphanage mother. Okay. Ronan and crew are just some wandering lost swordsmen pulling together as a family, righting wrongs as they come up.
Yes.
Okay. All right. So, we're going to have to figure out how to mash these two groups together in Cosmic
we'll
7.
figure that out next time.
Yeah.
But I think we have our story for Cosmic 6.
Are we calling it 6? I don't think it's a 6. It's like a 5.5.
Okay, well, we can't name it 5.5.
All right, but let's have a nomenclature like Tokyo Drift, okay? We're not like
so Cosmic Void
Presents. Okay.
No presents. We're not at Fast 9 yet. Okay. We don't get to the presents until Fast 9.
Okay.
This is Fast and Furious Tokyo Drift.
Yeah.
So this is Cosmic Void.
Cosmic Void. One very bad day.
Kyronian Nights.
No. We're not doing... There's not... The story isn't even set at nights, though.
Yeah, but it could be K and,
Kyronian Nights. Yeah. Kyronian
Day. It's got that Aladdin feel to it.
All right. It could have Kyronian in it, but it can't be Kyronian.
Kyronian Nights.
If we don't come up with something better in 2 minutes, it could be Kyronian Nights. All right, it's Kyronian Night. One, okay. Not plural. Night.
Kyronian Night.
And we set off that the religious ceremony has to happen at night. Okay?
All right. So here it is. The Architects of Lore original idea. Cosmic Void, Kyronian Night. It's a spinoff with a whole new crew of characters. We got a group of
orphans who have found a family, because in this empire, you are tested as a child to go into some sort of job that you want. And all of these kids were tested, and they failed their test to become fists, and their families kicked them out. But they found a new family in an orphanage. And those cast of characters are...
We got Spark. She is a hybrid alien who is strong but short, so she was cast away. And she's got a mean temper. We got Octavian, who's kind of like a octopus type thing. He's pretty cool. We got Mac, who's like a human seahorse, and he is the driver. Octavian also links them up mentally to their head. And then we got
the skinny Spud one, Ned.
Mackenzie. Oh yeah, and Ned, Skinny Ned.
Skinny Ned. He's more the tech guy. And then we got Spud, big rock guy. And we got Mackenzie, who's like a flower girl. Actual flower girl.
And she can distract people with like a hypnosis type smell.
Yeah. And this group experienced a tragedy in their past, and that was their orphanage was blown up and their mother was killed. And they've survived for 5 years on their own, being individuals in this communist society. But one day they see on the news that the person who destroyed their orphanage and killed their orphan mother is going to become governor?
They got to take him down. And to do that, they're going to sabotage the ceremonial ritual that declares him governor and ruin his career and thus his life.
So they break in and they get past the guards and they confront this guy who we never named. His name is Trevor because Trevor sucks. And Spark's just going to kill this guy. But she gets talked down by Mackenzie saying this is not what Mom would have wanted. Okay? Mom told us that the Empire is about protecting people. That's who we are. So she lets him go. But they sabotage the ceremony. Black smoke plumes up. The whole populace takes it as a bad sign. This guy gets blown up. He's still alive, but his life is ruined.
Our group run off on his ship to be chased by the Fist. As they're hiding from the Fist, they got away on their own by going into a cosmic storm. They see the Fist pull away, and in the distance, Big Blimpin blow up or get shot down into the Black Planet.
And that's the Architects Lore original idea, Cosmic Void, Kyronian Night.
Basically, a group of orphans go against a governor who wronged them in the past and want revenge.
Yeah, let's use that one.
Just trying to get like a little short,
just a little short one,
just a little taster, little sampler size,
that's a little log line, people. That's what we say. That's what we call in the business.
So next week we are getting back on track. We are watching Furious 7. Buckle up, get your tissues ready, people. Get your tissues ready, people, because unfortunately, Paul
you're going to be sad
died during the production of this, so
it's going to be sad.
It is a little bit of a spoiler that this will probably make you cry, but enjoy. Please follow us on Instagram at Architects of Lore. You can follow us on X at Arc of Lore, YouTube Architects of Lore. Please like, subscribe. If you have any questions, comments, or concerns, feel free to email us at architectslore@gmail.com. That's all I got.
Okay. Well, thank you so much for joining me. Thank you, everybody, for listening. And just remember, you got a story in your head, but you can't seem to get it out.
Do it.
Fucking do it. Because if it sucks, who cares? That's what editing's for. Good night, everybody.